Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We bring you stories of faith, love, and devotion. Yeah, just kidding, please help us grow by hitting that like button. Now on to the story. She left me for her physically abusive ex after she asked me to marry her. Very long, slightly entertaining story. Summary: my girlfriend cheated on me and then left me for the typical ex-boyfriend, who cheated on her and beats her regularly. I don't understand what I did wrong or how to get her back. I, 27M, typically live and work overseas. I returned to the USA in 2019 to get a master's degree. While in school, I met a 24-year-old girl I'll call Wanda. Wanda had just ended a 3-year relationship 6 months before we met. She left him due to claims of physical and mental abuse as well as his infidelity. He cheated at least once on her. I also ended a relationship prior to our engagement, and so I did not think much of her past at the time. When Wanda and I met, we understood very quickly that we were very compatible for one another and would be a great team. This can be described in the usual OMG everything is perfect about one another and we're soulmates sort of vibe. When we met, however, I explained to her that I'd have to leave her after 4 months to return back overseas for work. I had all my flights and hotels, and etc. figured out. But, when time came to go, she begged me to stay and get into a serious relationship with her, telling me she'd like to get married and have children with me. Perhaps, since we were so compatible, the next year, if things continue to go well, we could get married. I have a tendency to abandon the girls I date, but I finally realized my dream, someone asking me to stay with her. I was thrilled. I cancelled all my prior arrangements and stayed in the country to get serious with her. Things were ideal. We always worked out our problems immediately, avoiding all negative emotion, could talk about our feelings and struggles very calmly and with harmony. It was truly something special. Looking back at our old texts for the time, I read nothing other from her about how the relationship was her ideal and that I was a dreamlike partner for her. She would tell me on a daily basis how happy and in love she is, etc. When time came for me to get an apartment in the USA, I got a 2-bedroom place with the intention to have her move in with me in the future. She was initially very hesitant on the matter, but, after a few months of negotiation, she began to warm up to the idea. She started moving little things in here and there. While she was bringing things over, one day, she showed me a wedding ring that she wanted me to buy for her. I took the hint and started shopping. During this same week, a few significant events happened. My father told me that he was dying and my school sent me a notice that they'd expel me for starters. Second, her and I had a conversation about some mythological story about a failed relationship which made her very upset, but she wouldn't tell me why. The next day, we had a party for my birthday. My best friend brought over edibles for everyone. As one does while on edibles, we all got horrible ducked in the head. I had some sort of a seizure/panic attack for several hours, while my best friend the entire time screamed at me for not allowing him to do more drugs, whereas my girlfriend had a more internally existential experience. My friend group and I realized the aforementioned best friend likely has a drug addiction, and I held an intervention which failed completely. I lost my best friend as a result. It was then that I stopped sleeping entirely due to stress. In the middle of the week, my girlfriend was supposed to come over and cook us dinner, but decided to stay home. This was very odd as she was literally driving to my home and then stopped halfway, claiming that she was battling demons. Obviously not a good sign, so I rushed over with some cheesecake to see if I could calm her down and talk about her feelings. She was extremely closed off and wouldn't talk to me at all. She then gave me a very long, very sad hug and said she needed some time alone to think for a few days. Obviously, I needed massive help in my life at the moment, but decided to give her space, because I didn't want to push her away or put any of my crazy life stress onto her. She then basically avoided me for 2 weeks. The first of which we spoke exclusively over the phone. The second, she flew to a different part of the country with friends for vacation and to model on a popular talk show with millions of viewers along with some of her friends. At this point, I have not slept in 9 total days. My life is on fire. On the plus side, I finally found the ring I wanted to buy her. As I was buying this ring, she sent me a text with a link to this talk show, telling me how upset the show made her because the hosts were incompetent. It was at this time, I put my credit card back in my pocket to watch this show. The entire show, she talked about the importance of marriage, monogamy, and how she wanted to get into a serious, long-term committed relationship of which she presently not in, due to the tyrannical abuse of her previous partner, the one prior to me. Huh? Obviously, I did not buy the ring, and obviously, I continued, another 2 weeks into sleeplessness. Eventually she returned to the area, and I went over her house multiple times to try and console her, talking about her past traumas, reassuring that we are in fact in a relationship and that it's a mighty good one, especially since she asked me to both stay in the country and to get her a ring. She told me a lot about the abuse of her past relationship from her parents and her ex, how she lost most all her friends because of the ex, and how she would be regularly beaten by people that got close to her. Every time we were in the same room, she'd talk to me, calm down, tell me we were okay, say that she loved me, and was so happy to be together. Seconds after I would leave, she'd return to a panic and keep trying to tell me she couldn't be in a relationship anymore. We'd repeat this cycle for the next few days, until she just keep texting me I can't over and over. Eventually, I called her over to my house to break up and give back our things. I was devastated. She was crying so hard, as she walked in she could barely stand. I sat her down and asked how long she had been cheating on me. I believe her side of the story is that she blocked the ex for good, the day I decided to cancel my flights and remain in the country for her. Some time ago, I told her this mythological story and it made her think that it was her fault she couldn't stop him from abusing her, so she reached out to him to apologize. He reached out to her on the day after my birthday, and then, after I came over with cheesecake the one night, came over and forcibly had sex with her, which she also wanted. She then lied to all her friends about the situation to cover the cheating, saying she broke up with me because she's not ready for a serious relationship right now. I forgave her for these transgressions and confirmed that we'd work through all our problems, get therapy, whatever was needed. She apologized profusely and agreed to stay together. She told me that the reason she chested and lied about it was I wanted to take away everything I ever wanted so I could hurt myself. What I found stranger yet, was that her immediate response after I forgave her was that she said she desperately wanted to move in together and kept brining up how she very much wanted this. We then worked out a plan on how she can repent and move forward and then spent the day together. We hooked up several times, and made dinner. It was nice. Upon the 3rd or 4th time having sex, she got a call from her dad. She said that she would tell him that we're together for the first time, they don't talk much, and that she'll be moving in with me. While on the phone, she looks at me the entire time directly in the eyes, makes no mention of me to her father, and then tells him she'll be moving into one for his rental properties next week. Huh? Immediately, after this phone call, she starts crying again. She begs me profusely to murder her ex-boyfriend. At this point, I'm convinced that these must be hallucinations brought on by sleep deprivation, but I know these events to be true. Her phone rings. It's the ex. I answer and have a chat with the guy, while she runs off to the other room and has a panic attack. We chat. I get some info from him that they were together for about 3 years until she left him about 6 months ago, but they are back together now, as of a week or so ago. I suggested that she was together with me and he did not like that answer. I hung up on him and tried talking things through with the girlfriend like, hey, I figured telling him to duck off might be a healthier response than doing something drastic like murder. How was that? She then proceeded to say you saved my life over and over and how thankful she was that he was finally gone from her life. I was so confused at this point from the craziness of the situation and my sleep deprivation that I passed out. I wake up an hour later to her having another panic attack. My body is so weak I can barely move, but use the remainder of my energy to calm her down. I then pass out again. Eventually I wake up to her taking all her things out of my house and telling me I'm going to my sister's. We all know what that means. I didn't have enough energy to stand, but I managed to crawl over to her and mutter something like, "You don't have to do this to yourself, you can just walk away." The last thing I remember is her leaving. Eventually I get enough strength to move properly and I drove to her sister's place. Her car isn't there and she won't respond to my call. I leave her a voicemail in which I said how upset I was that she'd leave me for the dude after trying so hard to work things out, and confirmed again that we will find a way to work things out between us. The next morning, she laments saying how he'll never talk to me again and that she's going to kill herself. I literally have no idea what the duck is happening, so I just stop talking to her. The day after, she sends a text about how she'll love me for the remainder of my life and that we're soulmates and perfect for each other, but she just can't right now. I try coming over to work things out, but she literally runs away from her house in a panic. That was the last time I saw her. To this day I have no idea what happened. It's been 6 months and I can barely sleep 5 hours a night at my best. I have never stayed in the country for any girl for any reason. I very much want to work things out with this girl. I contacted her once or twice over the past 6 months, but got little more than a "you're perfect," and did everything right, but I can't be with you, because I'm back with him. I reached out to her friends for some advice as to how to work things out with her, but they said while she does love me, she's just not ready for a relationship right now. To which I realized, she told no one in her life that she and the other dude are together, likely because the friends would leave her. They hate the dude even more than me. I've been consistently sticking to no contact, hoping that it would bring her back. It hasn't. It would have been our anniversary next week and I want to reach out again. I know it will be futile, but I want to try anyway. Should I reach out again or wait maybe a year or so for her to hopefully return to me? Also, what did I do to lose this girl? Was it because I didn't beat her? Do I have to be violent to keep a girl around? I very much don't want to be a horrible person to maintain a relationship, but feel I have no other choice. Was this my fault? I have no idea how to move forward. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you. 2 notes. A. Specifically, her words, "I wanted to take away everything I ever wanted so I could hurt myself," often echo in my head. What might they mean? Any ideas? B. She's consistently blocked and unblocked me from various platforms of social media for the past 6 months. What might that imply? So much to unpack here. She was using you to get over her ex. What she should have been doing was going to therapy. Somehow she manipulated you into having to prove your love for her by staying in the country and buying her a ring. She got you to pursue her. You agreed. Meanwhile she's still talking to her ex. She's probably telling him all these nice things you've done for her. She was using you to manipulate him. You didn't vet her long enough. I'm sure her sob story about being a victim brought out the urge to protect. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure her ex abused her. But she can't get over that by jumping headfirst into a new relationship before she completely untangles from the old. I would keep my distance from her and her hot mess. While I think it was trash of her to treat you the way she did, I also think you are mistaken about something. You are not entitled to a serious relationship just because you decided to be nice to someone. Those women before you were awful too. Were they not nice to you? Yet you rejected and pushed them away? There's an irony here and a lesson to learn. I don't mean to be mean, but you need to process this before you try again. And for the love of God, don't try with any of your exes, especially this most recent one. In addition to being nicer to people, you need to slow things down and look for signs that they are relationship material. Why would you want her back? It seems to me that both of you have serious issues to resolve before you jump into any relationship of that nature. Bro, just move on. You have been used so hard. Go and do the things that will advance your life further. Please stop reaching out to this girl and get help for yourself, because honestly both of you have been behaving in a ridiculous way. A train wreck doesn't cut it. This girl is a fleet of shipwrecks. What are you doing? Also, how are you not institutionalized or dead without sleep for 9 straight days? That kind of behavior is not uncommon for victims of abuse. Since she experienced abuse from her parents and her partner, she never experienced what love actually feels like. That takes care that in her brain, she needs the abuse to feel that she belongs to that person because people that were important to her abused her, so that must be normal, right? In the relationship with you, where she didn't get abused, she then felt unsure. She loved it to experience love but doubted if she meant as much to you as she meant to her parents and ex. Because she meant so much to them that they would abuse her while you didn't. By now, she is at a place where she needs the abuse to feel that she belongs to someone. This is a circle that many victims of long-term abuse experience. They trust the abuse more than the feeling of love or appreciation. With her parents and her ex, she knows what she gets, it is familiar. With you, she doesn't know what to expect, and that makes her feeling unsure. Sadly, there is nothing you can do to help her. She needs to seek out help on her own, and she needs proper therapy to separate the feeling of abuse from the feeling of love. She needs to learn that one can exist without the other. All you can do is to offer her help and to help her find a therapist. But that's it, she herself needs to develop the desire to leave that behind and to go to therapy. I am sorry that you are in this position. Please get into counseling. She definitely has some serious mental issues. Get healthy and heal. Story 2. I, 31M, caught Fiancée, 31F, in a lie. Just posted an update in case anybody is interested. Not sure how notifications work on Reddit. I caught my fiancé in a very big lie a month after getting engaged. We've had our ups and downs throughout a 4-year relationship. We are both in our 30s, but always find a way to make it work. We had a breakup in December of last year, that resulted in us going no contact for about 10 days before we both couldn't handle the separation and started talking again. It was a little rocky, but texted every day, and by end of January we're getting back to normal. I had asked her if she had dated in the brief window we were apart or had anything to disclose, and was assured that nothing had happened. Fast forward to August and we're engaged. This morning, I found out she had been seeing someone else until February/March. I confronted her and she started crying and admitted she had slept with someone in January, and likely February, and had lied to me about it, and that she had also dated 2 other men through April but not slept with them, but who knows. Her justification was that we never officially said we were back together or that I was committed to progressing our relationship. This is true. I told her we could give it a try and I would make an effort, but given how bad December went, I didn't want to make a false promise that our being together would result in marriage. We, I guess, never officially said we were back together, but if we're texting daily saying I love you and seeing each other 3 or so times a week, then I think it speaks for itself. I'm not sure how to proceed. I've been accused by her of inappropriate behavior with women, which I did nothing, to the point I had to turn around and ask her why she was asking this and if she had done something I needed to know about. Well, I now have my answer, and she lied right to me on multiple occasions. I feel betrayed, and this was done behind my back, and had I known she did this at the time I would have never stayed. She also admitted she slept with him to get closure with us, but ultimately couldn't let me go and didn't want to tell me because it would have ruined us. Which is absolutely correct and why I deserved to know and asked her about it. If it had happened once while we were no contact, I would be upset but could have understood. She lied and kept lying until we are now engaged and she got caught. I feel so stupid for spending so much time together when she was seeing other people at the same time. I don't think anything else is going on at this point or would in the future, and believe she has now told me everything. Sitting here feeling embarrassed and on the fence about going through with everything, wondering what advice Reddit has. Dating while y'all were broken up, I don't believe in breaks, isn't the issue, as I'm sure you know. The lying is. I lied because you wouldn't like the truth is not a defense. The choice is ultimately up to you, but I think you'll always have that niggling thought in the back of your head of is she lying? Yes, the issue is she lied multiple times and that she continued to date after I felt we were past the point of being back together. On top of that, I was accused of inappropriate behavior and had sit there defending myself while this was going on without my knowledge. So you know she attacked you because she's been ducking/seeing/dating other dudes this entire time. Right now you're seeing that she's literally lying about everything regarding your relationship. Stop asking questions and ghost her. Trust me, the stuff you'll find out isn't going to be healthy for you in the long term. But here's where you need to think. Did you both want the separation/break, or was it something that she started? Think about that for a bit. What really brought it on so quickly? She pushed and because you followed a girl you two took a break, aka she got with other dudes over you following a person you knew from high school. And in her warped head, her ducking/seeing/dating other dudes this entire time was to get one over on you while you're literally trashed for even apparently looking at women. Start planning your escape. Get the ring back subtly, or not, and have friends/movers in place if you're living together to get all of your stuff boxed up and moved out when she's at work. Get tested. See your friends. Ghost her completely and realize that you can actually talk to women without being made to feel so ducking guilty. Yeah, this. Assume that she is only telling you the bare minimum that she thinks she can get away with and that the truth is much worse. If she can justify doing this in the recent past, she will find a way to justify it in the near future. Update: I, 31M, caught my 31F fiancé in a lie. Hi, link to the original post here. Well, after the confrontation and everything that I've laid out in the original post, I did a couple sessions with my therapist and it made me feel less hopeful about getting things back on track. TBH. I told her that I didn't think things were likely to work out. I hadn't fully given up, it just wasn't feeling good, and it led to a big confrontation that was very explosive and was too much for me to deal with, threats of self-harm and the works. From her point of view, I made a commitment and that we should be able to work past this. That we weren't together at that time, but has admitted to lying and being at least somewhat wrong for accusing me of things. That we weren't in a good place and that she has always wanted to make it work with me and loves me and will do whatever it takes to work past this if I give her a chance. She also thinks I'm just having cold feet and that I typically run from my problems, and I shouldn't do that this time considering where we are at. I would agree with her that we weren't in a good place at that time, and even that I do run from things. I've been somewhat quick to end things at times, but think things just get to be a bit too much. For a bit more context, we ended things in December as I mentioned in my earlier post after she accused me of trying to cheat and instantly blocked me for 2 days, a week before we had a trip planned where I was going to propose. I had no idea what she was talking about or who she was referring to, and while I was trying to figure out who she was even talking about, I got blocked. I thought that this clearly wasn't meant to be, or at least we weren't ready, and said I wasn't going to propose. We kept in contact through Christmas or so, and then after another false accusation and blow up, I wanted to go no contact, which lasted from late December to early January before she reached out. We picked up conversation and began seeing each other more regularly by the end of January. I told her we could go back to being together in a sense, but I didn't want to commit to us being married after what had happened in December and just didn't see that happening. By early February I was back to spending as much time with her as I normally would have, and doing the same things we would normally do, but still it was a long road to get to the point we were engaged. All that being said, from my point of view, I told her that even if we wouldn't agree about the status of our relationship, that she knew it was wrong, which is why she lied to me about it so she could keep her options open while keeping me in her life. Something I wouldn't have stayed for, and that she knew had she told me I would have walked away given what happened in December. I can rationalize dating to some extent, but not while lying to me about it, which is inexcusable, and makes it feel like cheating to me even if she won't agree. What I can't do is rationalize how it felt to be accused so much over this past year while all of this was going on behind my back. She says it's this period of time from end of December to basically April, but given how much I've had to be accused of, I'm sure this has happened in the past prior to December more than I care to admit. It's also hard that I've limited the things I do personally based on her insecurities and changed so much behavior thinking I should, but kind of seeing it hasn't been the case. It was more her issues not mine, and how much that's caused me to walk on eggshells throughout our relationship, whether it was in regards to these accusations or anything else. That's honestly been the thing that makes me feel like this won't work, even more than the dating or even lying, which at least I can somewhat rationalize even though I shouldn't. Anyways, fast forward to the actual update. When I told her I didn't think we would be able to move past it, it was very volatile with threats of self-harm, etc. that I loved her but this didn't seem right. Told her I needed space to figure out how I feel about things. We took some space, which is when I processed things from my point of view, and then let her know I wanted to call things off. It wasn't an easy discussion. I'm absolutely crazy about her and I know that she really does love me and believe she would do whatever she could to try to make this work and how important the engagement was to her, but I can't help finding out things the way I did and how some of these things are not really fixable. We are going to let our family and friends know soon. She's very much devastated and feels that I'm just having cold feet and has said if I wanted to get past it I have a very short window to commit to working past this, basically until everyone knows it's off, otherwise there's no coming back. She doesn't think this was worth cancelling our engagement. I have a different opinion, but I'll admit it's hard to end things with someone you love and are crazy about. Might be partially cold feet, but it's tough to tell and think it's more rational than anything. It also hurts as I know she's waited a long time for this moment and it was very special for both of us, but I can't help the timing of when I found out or how it makes me feel. That's what's going on. If you've made it this far, thanks for reading. I'm sorry bro, but you made a good call reading the 2 posts you made. I would not suggest going for marriage with her. Thanks for making it through 2 walls of text to read and comment. TBH, I'd bet my left arm and leg she came out of left field and accused you of cheating / blocking you because she 1. was cheating herself, or 2. had someone lined up to duck and wanted an excuse. I know she's special to you, but she seems like every other self-centered individual who's taking advantage of the trust of an insecure partner that pops up here 15x a week. She wasn't going to treat you right at any point of your union, and I'd have bet on that too. She just didn't think you had the backbone to walk, which is why she's still deflecting instead of accepting responsibility. She never plans to actually grow as a person, and if she can shuck responsibility she will. Which ironically makes you walking much better. Honestly, this does not sound like a healthy relationship. You said she was basically dating these other guys while you two were trying to work things out to keep her options open. It sounds like she wants to be married more than she wants to be married to you. Her threats of self-harm and ultimatums are more of a manipulation tactic to get her way. She really doesn't sound like she acknowledges what she did was wrong or that it hurt you. She is giving excuses and even putting some of the blame on you for not committing to her on her time frame. If you could work past all of this and find a way to trust her again, that is your choice. However, you should not be engaged while you work it out. The threat of you only having a short window to commit is downright jacked up. Do not let her try to rush you or force you into forgiving her. She acknowledges the lying was wrong and it hurt me, but that I should be able to get past it with time. I don't think she understands the gravity of how it made me feel, which I've tried to explain. She just doesn't agree with the premise that she's using me to justify her bad behaviors. I think that's a big part of why I needed to end things. It honestly sounds like you have made your decision. It is valid and what is best for you. Do not let her manipulate you into continuing the relationship or shame you for ending it. I will say, as someone who was cheated on, found out when I saw the sonogram that his ex sent him, the hurt of ending a relationship that your partner broke will pass. You now have an opportunity to get off this roller coaster and find a brand new relationship that doesn't carry the pain, manipulation and trust issues that this one does. She doesn't have to agree with your feelings. You don't need her validation for your choices. You have a right to feel how you want and act on that without her permission. She is terrible, and if you stay with her she'll cheat again because she has zero empathy for you or remorse for how she hurt you. She just wanted to get laid by some strange dick and now wants you to accept it and marry her anyway, and to hell with how you feel about it. So incredibly selfish. You're making the right decision in leaving the relationship. But that I should be able to get past it with time. That's not for her to decide. We hope that by sharing these stories with interested folks like you, we can help people recognize the signs of a relationship in trouble, and avoid so many of these heartbreaking situations yourselves. Have a good day or night, wherever you are.